Hello everyone, it's Old Guardian here. Tomorrow we're going to get the final batch of cards from Scholomance Academy, but today there have been another 8 cards revealed and I'm going to go through what is being offered right now. So let's get to it. First of all, Priest Paladin dual class legendary minion is High Abbess Allura. A 4-mana 3/6 with spell burst, cast a spell from your deck, targets this if possible. And this Priest Paladin dual class thing is really interesting one. It seems to be like tailor-made for Libram Paladin in particular. High Abbess Allura, you play Libram of Wisdom on that. It casts something, maybe a Libram of Hope or something else, targeting itself if possible. However, while that seems like the obvious match, I'm beginning to be really interested about the possibilities for Priest. Because typically, of course, we think of a Priest deck and it runs Time Rips and Plagues of Death and Shadow Words and all sorts of removal pieces. But do these cards actually open up more opportunities for Tempo Priest? Making use of cards such as Apotheosis, and then using cards like this, and then you get more buffs from your deck as well, and just play a tempo game with minions. That could be possible with the new cards with Priest. Tomorrow, once we get all of the cards, it will be possible to better evaluate whether that's a reality. Then we have a new Mage Rogue dual class card, Brain Freeze. And I have to say I can't quite figure this card out. It's a 1-mana spell, freeze a minion, combo, also deal 3 damage to it. So you can use this to freeze a minion to prevent it from attacking. You can use this as a cheap piece to remove something from the board, as long as you can combine it with something else. But it doesn't go phase. Like, it's quite far away from a Frostbolt in the end. So what kind of deck would really want this card? Maybe some kind of a deck that would like to do bunch of small spells. Maybe something like a Cyclone Mage could be interested in this. Then they run some of those new Mage Legendary cards and they buff up the spell damage. They have a Sorcerer's Apprentice and this becomes free, and something like that might happen. But the fact that it cannot go phase and there has to be a minion also for it to target, then I just have a bit of a hard time placing which deck exactly would run this card. However, I have no trouble placing this card in a deck. Potion of Illusion. Rogue Mage dual class card, 4 mana, add 1/1 copies of your minions to your hand, they cost 1, and this card enables Exodia in Standard. You can do it. You can get Archmage Antonidas, 4 Sorcerer's Apprentices, and an endless stream of fireballs. That's possible. Whether you should do it is another matter, of course, because after all, those cards do take up space from your deck, so whether you should, I don't know, but combo coming right up. Then an interesting one, Speaker Gidra, a Druid Shaman dual class card, 3 mana 1/4 Rush and Wind Fury. Spell burst, gain attack and health equal to spell's cost, so gain, which means that they are added to that 1/4 stat line. So you play this and you play a 6 cost spell, and this becomes a 7/10 with Rush and Wind Fury. Or you might play this with something like a buff, a Mark of the Wild or something. You buff this up and it buffs even more because of the way the spell works. Can't really use this with copying cards like Germination, because spell burst triggers after the spell. So then you would make a copy of this first, and only afterwards would the original gain the buff. So I don't think it works with those things. But what I'm most interested about with this card is that the Druid really has problems with removal, and this one has potential to be pretty big removal at times, so we'll see. It's not quite a War Druid Lodi, but it might have its uses. Scholomance Academy is going to bring us a lot of interesting mechanics, and one of them is here. Educated Elekk, 3 mana 3/4 Beast. Whenever a spell is played, this minion remembers it. And Death Rattle, shuffle the spells into your deck. So once you play this minion on the board, as long as it's on the board, you play spells, the minion stores memory of, okay, these spells have been played. The opponent plays spells, alright, it remembers the opponent played those spells. Then it's killed, and all of those spells are shuffled into your deck. Now, it probably takes a deck with fairly decent amounts of card draw to really make good use of this. So even though it's a beast, is it really a hunter card? Maybe not. There has to be some kind of combo potential with this as well, although there is of course the risk of getting it silenced or transformed, in which case you don't get the spells back. And getting your opponent's spells, it can be a good thing or it can be a bad thing, because sometimes those spells don't support your plans, and then if you shuffle them into your deck, and then you draw those spells, and then you're like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this card? So it doesn't always work out quite that well. I've also seen people talking about running this in like a Libram Paladin, which I don't think is going to happen, because Libram Paladin has fairly weak card draw, and then if you shuffle some Librams of Wisdom into a deck and you start drawing Librams of Wisdom, then that's pretty terrible. Either way, it's a new, unique mechanic in Hearthstone, so will be interesting to see what can be done with it. Then a new Paladin card, 2 mana 1/1 Argent Braggart. With Battlecry, gain attack and health to match the highest in the battlefield. Okay, so there's a big minion on the battlefield and you get a 2 mana stat copy of that. That is potentially very, very powerful. You could also play this with like a Libram Paladin, and you play a Libram of Hope, and then you play this one, and boom, big minion, or you have a small minion and you jam some Librams of Wisdom on that, and then you play the Argent Braggart, which gets the stat line. It doesn't get the Librams, of course, but it gets the buffed up stat line. So Paladin is getting a ton of support for all sorts of buffing and making use of that. Then the exciting Hunter legendary card, Professor Slate. 3 mana 3/4, your spells are poisonous. That is sweet. So, for example, CDC has already been playing a lot of Verisa Highlander Hunter, with Verisa Windrunner and then having some spells as finishers like Rapid Fire. And this card would slot into that deck just straight up, making Rapid Fire hard removal for 2 minions for 2 mana. So Slate plus 2 Rapid Fires, 5 mana, 2 card, skill 2 minions. This card looks really, really interesting. The 3 mana 3/4 stat line, that's a premium stat line too, so would you even slot this in more aggressive Hunter decks? Then you can kill stuff with like Corrosive Breath. It just destroys things and goes phase at the same time. There are a lot of possibilities with this one. Finally, the Shaman legendary card, Instructor Fireheart. 3 mana 3/3, Battlecry, discover a spell that costs 1 or more. If you play it this turn, repeat this effect. So you can chain a lot of spells. This is really a big reload for Shaman. You play this fairly late in the game, you're at 7 mana or 8 mana or 10 mana, and then you pick up some cheap spells, and then you play them and pick up more cheap spells and play them. That is a very powerful turn. And you can end that turn by picking up some big expensive spell, and then you have something to play next turn as well. Just an amazingly powerful card. I would have to do the math once all the cards are out on what is the probability to get burned from this. Because just think Fireheart into Lightning Bolt, Lava Burst, Lightning Bolt, Lava Burst. Pretty explosive even. The rest of the cards are coming out tomorrow, and this expansion is looking very interesting, unique and strong.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the show, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel for more.